guys, you have to watch how much you overextend your time and energy when it comes to meeting new women. If you don't be careful of this, you could end up wasting so much time, so much energy, and you could basically get no return on your investment. And there's been plenty of times that I know you guys are probably going through it. I've gone through it, and I was going to give you one of these stories that proves that if you're not careful, you could just waste a bunch of time trying to impress a woman, and it doesn't go anywhere, or you don't get what you think you're going to get out of it. And this story in particular happened when I was about 19, 20, and I was in my hometown, and I was at Frankie's Fun Park. And if you don't know what Frankie's Fun Park is, I'll post a picture up here so you can see what Frankie's Fun Park is. It's basically just an indoor arcade, and outside they had mini golf and go-kart. So the typical arcade spot that people can go to anytime they want to go on date nights, or it's popular for teenagers too. And I was there playing this arcade game called Pump It Up. Pump It Up is a dance game in the arcade, and you may have seen it before. It's the one that has like the light up pads where you can stand on them, and there's two of them. You can dance, and it plays out all kinds of songs. It's usually like Korean, Japanese, or all types of music that's really not American music. I'm playing this game, and this Asian girl walks up to me while I'm playing, and she says, "Hey, when you're done, can I play?" I look at her kind of funny. I'm like, sure, you can play. Once I finish my songs, I get off the dance pad and I let her step up there, and I'm like, all right, yeah, you can go ahead. So she scans her card, then she looks at me and is like, come on, I want you to play with me. So I'm like, all right, cool. There's two dance pads, so I get on the right dance pad, she gets on the left dance pad. I scan my card and I let her pick a song, because I'm thinking I don't want to pick a song that I know really well and she doesn't really know how to play, and I embarrass her. And she was an attractive girl, so she picks the song out, and I'm getting the feeling that she knows how to play based on I'm looking at how she's picking the song. So we start playing, and I'm watching her more than I'm paying attention to my own dance pad and the notes. And I'm noticing, hey, this girl actually knows how to play. So this is kind of, it's like a little bit of a turn on, because I'm doing something that's super nerdy. I'm not expecting any attractive girl to know what this is, and she's actually playing very well. She wasn't as good as me, but that didn't really matter. So then we both finished playing our songs that we're supposed to play, and she introduced herself, and then she walks off. Like, I tell her my name, she tells me her name, she walks off, and it was like, nice to meet you. I say, nice to meet you too. And then I keep playing, because usually when I go there, I play for hours, because it's just super nerdy, very into it. And about 30 minutes later, she comes back up to me while I'm playing, and she has like a group of people with her now. So I'm thinking, is this something suspicious? What's going on? Is her boyfriend coming up here to fight me because I played with his girl earlier, or what's going on? And she says, hey, you know what? I wanted to ask, do you want my number? Maybe we can hang out sometime outside of here. And I'm looking around like, is this a setup? Is it a trap? What's going on? I said, yeah, sure. I give her my number. And then she goes and leaves Frankie's Fun Park. And I stayed there for just a little bit longer. And then I'm finally leaving. About 10 minutes after she leaves, she texts me and said, hey, it was nice meeting you tonight. I wanted to ask you, do you want to hang out next weekend? I said, sure. I wasn't used to a girl texting me first. Remember, like, I'm only like 19 at this time. So, I mean, I had interactions with women and, dated women, stuff like that. But it just wasn't used to a woman putting in a little bit more work and showing that level of interest. So she said, yeah, let's hang out next Friday. I said, all right, cool. And a week goes by. I hadn't contacted her at all, because I'm thinking it's just a fluke. I'm like, there's no way this attractive girl even wants to hang out. Plus, she lived about 20-25 minutes away from me based on what she was telling me. So I wasn't that interested to drive to see her, because I was like I said, I was 19. I worked a part-time job, and it just didn't feel like going out of my way. That felt like out of my way at that time. So then Friday night comes, and she texts me She says, hey, I just want to see if you still want to hang out tomorrow. I was like, okay, because I kind of forgot. I didn't think she was going to hit me back up ever. I didn't think we were going to hang out ever. I said, okay. And she was like, yeah, can you come pick me up at maybe 11 a.m.? I don't remember the exact time. And I said, yeah, sure, I can come pick you up. And she said, here's my address. So the next day comes, I go and scoop her up, and she wants to go to the mall because I had no idea what I was even going to do with her. I didn't have a plan. I didn't even know if this was a date or nothing at the time. Like, I literally didn't know what was going on. I just knew, hey, I just want to be around her because she looks cute. You know, she looks good. She wanted to go to the mall. That was back where near I lived. So that was another 20-minute, 25-minute drive back towards the direction I would live in. Then, of course, I'm going to have to drive her back like 20 or 25 minutes on her side of town. So I went along with it because I'm like, I don't know. I just want to be around the chick. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe we'll start talking or start dating. Took her back to the mall. We're hanging out, walking around, and she's very flirtatious. So that throws me off too. We're walking, we're going through stores, and they're asking like, you want some ice cream or something? You want like a coffee from Starbucks? And we get a coffee from Starbucks. She shows me what she likes, and she was very friendly to a point that I didn't even understand. So when I got the coffee, she's like, hey, you want to taste some? And she's like trying to put it up to my mouth. And I'm like, well, I don't even know this chick like that. And she's trying to like get me to share coffee like that. And I was like, I don't really drink that type of coffee. I normally just drink regular coffee, because she had the stuff with like whipped cream and all that caramel stuff on it. And I didn't really do that. But for her, since I wanted to be in her good graces and impress her, I went ahead and tasted it. Not even really knowing anything about this girl. I put my mouth on her cup and everything and tasted it just because I was in the moment trying to keep up with her energy. Like, she had some kind of energy about her that I was just following along with it, which was a real strange thing because I never had any interactions like that with another girl before that, where I was just blown away by the energy and just going with it. So then I surprised myself. I'm like, okay, I can't believe I put my mouth on her cup. And then we're walking through the mall, and she starts kind of like grabbing my hand, like, where we're walking with our hands. And it's just like more touchy-feely now. And she's very playful to the point where she pushes me away when we're joking. And then she comes close to me, and she kisses me like a very quick little kiss on the lips. Very quick, soft kiss. And I'm like, whoa, what was that? I'm like, I'm still confused. And we keep walking through the mall, and we stumble across this sign that has tryouts for a talent/modeling agency. She says, you know what? I bet that you won't sign up for these tryouts here. Me, I'm not even an adventurous person. I'm not as spontaneous, but I looked at it, I was like, who, me? I said, I bet you I would. I said, but you got to sign up with me. I said, we're going to both do it together. I said, I'll do it. And we both walked over there. We put our names on the paper, put our information so they can contact us. And we dropped it in the box. And it said something on the sheet of paper like they contact you in like a week or two or something like that. And I was just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I would never do this normally. I would never do anything like that. So then we leave from there, and I take her all the way back to where she lives, and I go inside her house. I meet her mother. Her mother was Korean, and because like I told you, the girl was Asian. Her mother was Korean. I think her father was mixed with something else that was Asian, but he wasn't Korean. So she was mixed, basically. She was mixed with Asian and something else. And we sat there. Her mother was very nice and made us some Korean food. It was my first time I had authentic Korean food. It was like Korean beef ribs, some rice, some cabbage, all this other stuff, but it was done in the style that how Koreans cook it, and it was very authentic, better than you could get at any restaurant. And after that, we walked back into this girl's room, and I see like all this cool stuff assortment of all kinds of different things, that like books and like just things that look like souvenirs, because it was all types of assortments of cool stuff. And I said, where do you get all of this cool stuff from? Like, it's just unusual. She said, oh, well, it's like guys just give me stuff. And I was just like, hmm? I said, I ain't never seen nothing like. I'm like, so you're telling me guys just randomly just giving you all of these things? She was like, yeah. She was like, sometimes when guys are friends with me or they like me, they just end up getting me stuff or giving me stuff, and I keep it. A lot of this stuff is really cool. And so I'm looking at all this and I'm like, whoa, all right. So she sits me down. She has like these this manga collection. If you don't know what manga is, it's just like a book that is like animated. It comes from Japanese culture. It's also used to create like animated adaptations that you watch on TV called anime. You may have heard of anime before. So she just had the books that were based on the shows, vice versa. And at this time, I'm thinking this is kind of weird, because in high school, this was stuff that we call people nerds for. And she shows me all this anime and stuff. And she's like, look, I'm going to show you some anime I watch. And I'm like, what is this? I'm thinking all this is weird, but I'm just like, I'm just going to sit back and listen, just because I'm at her house now. I'm close to getting some type of action. I'm pretty sure by now we had a whole day of fun. And she started showing me this weird anime. It was very weird to me. It was with a lot of women, and the women in the show were lesbians basically. And it had nudity in it, and it was drawn like a cartoon. And the women are very sexual with each other, and there's not that many men in the show. So I'm like, what's going on? Why is she showing me this? And she's like, yeah, this is one of my favorite anime. And I'm like, whoa, this girl seems a little bit weird now. So after we turn the anime off, I watch it with her and I say, yeah, that's pretty interesting. Turn it off, and we start talking a little bit more. And then basically nothing happens this day. I decided to just go back home after I spent enough time over there, because I was there for hours, and I started getting uncomfortable being there for so long, because she did live with her mother, and I didn't want it to feel super weird. So I just said, you know what, I spent enough time with her. I'm just ready to go home after seeing the weird lesbian anime. Later on, the model tryouts did come up, and I did actually go through with it. Like, they called me. I had to go to the auditions where they started off doing voice acting. They had you read lines and see how you improvise with them, or how you could memorize lines, like you and another person reenacting a scene. And I did well with that. They also practiced doing runway walking. They taught you how to walk like on a runway, and then they saw how you would walk, and they took a lot of your measurements too, to make sure you had like what height you were, all those things, just to see where you might fit in the modeling world. So I did that, voice acting, runway walking. And then there was one thing they said is, well, we're going to also have a talent show in about a week or two, and we need to see what special talent do you have outside of like voice acting, and if you could do maybe runway modeling or something like that. We said we need to see other talents that you have. And I knew right away what I was going to do, because I had one specific talent that I was still actively working on, and that was dancing. For me, I had danced in high school and talent shows and won talent shows. I had a dance group and everything, and I even done that in college and had some success dancing in talent shows then. So when they said pick a talent, I knew, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So the girl that I was talking to that bet me to do this whole thing, she dropped out. She didn't even go through with like after the first week. So now I'm stuck in the modeling talent agency tryouts, because I'm kind of invested, because I made it through the first round. And then when they're telling me the next round is going to be something that's related to my talent, I'm like, well, I do actually have a talent. So I'm just gonna go through with this. And I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, yeah, once I get through with this talent show modeling agency thing, man, that girl, she is no way she's gonna be able to resist me after this. So I'm super excited about it. I'm like, I gotta go through with it. Excuse me, I'm like, I gotta go through with it because that's what I promised her. Like I was gonna do this. Anyway, I go through with it and I designed me a shirt to wear and everything for the tryouts. And during the day of the performance, I was literally one of the best performers. Not because I just am super cocky, but it showed when we got to the performance. Some people didn't practice because other people were very young. When you're trying out for agencies, there are a lot of younger people, and some of these people didn't really prepare that well. You could tell by just like the timeliness on when they showed up and just getting their routines together so they could perform. So I did really well, and sure enough, by the end of the competition, they were giving out maybe like 5 contracts, and there were like 30 contestants in total, or 20, maybe 20 contestants, something like that. And I was one of those 5 people that they offered a contract to for 1 year. And so I got the contract, took it home. I showed my mom because she didn't have to sign off on it or anything because I was old enough. But it was just like, hey, look what I got into. And then, of course, I told the girl that I was seeing at the time. We weren't even really dating, honestly. We were just hanging out. And I showed her, and she was very impressed. And she was getting more and more curious now about my dancing. So she was just like, I want you to show me how to dance now. And it came more of an excuse for me to like, hey, come over to my house so we can practice dancing. And so after that, I went over her house a few more times, and the one time where it started getting close to something like intimate, this is what finally happened. We were at her house, and we just had calmed down from like talking and kind of practicing some dance moves and stuff. And we're laying down in her bed, and she's telling me stuff about her personal life and telling me stuff about her family life. And then, we start touching on each other. We're kind of hugged up on each other in the bed. And then she starts saying, there's one thing I didn't tell you. I'm like, uh-oh, what's that? She's like, well, I never really been with a guy before. I said, okay. I said, but you never had a boyfriend? She said, nah, I don't date guys. I actually only date girls. I said, what do you mean by that? Like, you obviously like me. I said, you kissed me the other day. Like, even the first day we met, you kissed me. She's like, yeah, I think you're very attractive. And you have a nice looking body, all that. She said, but, I just wanted you to know, like, actually have a girlfriend. And she's in college right now. So she's away in college. But, I'm basically a lesbian. I'm not really, I don't really date guys. And she's like, I never even slept with a guy before. I'm like, yo, what? And I'm like, well, I gotta be close. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, I gotta be close because no guy's ever made it this far. So I was like, what happened with all the other guys that liked you, that gave you all this stuff? She was like, I just don't let them get that close to me. She was like, but you kind of got in a little bit closer. So she was like, I just want to let you know so that way you didn't think that, anything was going on. But I'm like, yeah, it is kind of confusing. And so then I sat and pondered this the whole time. I'm like, okay, so this girl is a lesbian, but she's kind of flirtatious, and she's telling me about a girlfriend she has. And she says, yeah, I'm extremely gay. She's like, I love looking at girls. She's like, you didn't notice when we're in the mall and I'm pointing out things about other girls the whole time? And then my mind starts going back, and I realize, whoa, I thought she was just being like a cool chick to hang around. But yeah, she really was checking out other girls in front of me, and we were kind of both talking about the girls. And at that time, I thought, oh, okay, she's just being cool. I didn't take it as, oh, she really likes the girls. And fast forward, um, she was extremely uncomfortable with doing anything intimate with me past, I guess, like the kissing and maybe just a little bit of touching, because she was just so nervous. She actually had a traumatic experience in her childhood with guys, so she was just terrified of being with guys in general. And so I knew I had to back off at that point, because I was like, this is going to be a lost cause, and I'm spending all this energy thinking that I'm going to get something that I'm not. And this girl's really just friend zoning me really hard, but she may still have some type of feelings. I said, it's too much. And I realized that I was investing myself too much into this. I spent weeks of hanging out with the chick. And like I said, I was picking her up. So I had to drive back and forth, like 25-minute drives to get to her house and then back to mine. And I was spending almost whole days with the chick. When I did it, it was like I was spending like my whole Saturday was going to her, and then sometimes she may want to hang out for half a day Sunday. So I realized, you know what? I just did all this stuff for nothing. And with the modeling contract, funny thing that happened with that is I kept the modeling contract for, it was 1 year, and I didn't really utilize it. I simply only did it because of that girl. There was some things that I did that progressed a little bit, where I actually got that contract and went to some tryouts for other things like roles and stuff like that. I ended up getting a second talent agency contract that did all my like social media stuff for me, where they would promote like videos and all that stuff. So it was really cool getting the insight on like how acting and talent agencies actually hand out like jobs, or how they scout jobs and stuff for you. And yeah, it was really cool, but I pretty much didn't do anything with it. It was a total waste of potential on my end, to be honest. I wondered what could have happened if I was focused more on that. Somehow I was more focused on the girl, other than just capitalizing on the 1 year contracts that I had got, because there were two in total. So I had plenty of opportunities to learn and do new things, but most of them did require me to travel based on the state that I was in. I did have to go to other states for a lot of those opportunities. However, this was a big lesson for me early on, that I have to be careful what I do with my energy and time when it comes to women, and stop trying so hard to impress women that you meet. And yeah, maybe you learned something from this. Maybe you have your own story. Share it down in the comments below.